Hi there, welcome back. We're going to be doing another Remnants of Naezith tutorial video today. In our previous video we looked at the 5 basic inputs, that's left, right, jump, dash or boost, and grapple or hook. Today we're going to be looking at combinations of these inputs and how they're used, how they can impact your game, and what to do with them. So without any further ado, let's get started. Pretty obviously you can combine your basic movement with anything. You can move and jump, you can move and boost. Much more useful than just boosting on its own. You pretty much have to move while you're grappling if you want to gain any significant amount of speed. So movement is not really anything to worry about. As long as you're moving while you do stuff, you'll get the hang of it. There are some nuances to how movement works in conjunction with other more advanced techniques, and we'll be getting into those in later videos, but for now just note that movement plus other inputs isn't super important. So with that out of the way, the next combination we're going to be looking at is the jump and the dash or boost. So the way this works is you can either do a jump followed by a dash, and that looks something like this, and that's a really easy way on certain levels in very certain circumstances to get over top of small ledges that you're far away from. It's much faster to do a jump and a dash to get over this ledge. You start falling sooner than it is to do a big jump. The other combination with this is dashing before you jump, which is known as a dash jump, and it looks something like this. So here I dash and I jump, and you'll notice that I gain a ton of height. This is my regular max jump height, which is this, and this is my fully held dash jump height. You can see you gain a ton more height. And this is useful in basically every level. You can use dash jumps to keep your speed going through areas if you have, say, a really long section with nothing there and you need to get over a giant gap, you'll need to dash jump. Various other places, if you need to gain height, you're going to want to dash jump. You can also chain your dash jump into a second jump, which looks like this. And you'll notice that this is my full maximum dash jump height, and this is with a second jump, and it goes a lot higher. Now the timing window on this is a little bit strict. You'll notice sometimes you'll go like that and do a second jump too late. Finding out the timing takes a lot of practice, so that's something you'll need to work on yourself. Now dash jumps, as per regular jumps, scale with how long you hold down your jump button. So if I can do a short hop with a normal jump or a long leap, I can do the same thing with a dash jump or a dash leap, if you will. You can also chain 2 dash jumps together by using a second dash during your jump like this, and that gets you a lot more height than just a regular double jump with 1 dash will. It's useful in very limited places, most notably the start of windup. If you're using the top route, you need to gain a lot of height and a lot of distance, like so. So keep in mind that you can do this to gain height and distance very quickly. Our next combination is going to be the grappling hook and boost together. This doesn't have a name because it's just sort of general movement tech. And as a rule of thumb, you do not want to use a dash while you're grappling. And that's basically true for all cases except for a small few. So if you see pro players or top players, if you will, doing normal movement in levels, usually it'll look something like this, and they'll be moving along not using dash, and then they'll dash afterwards. That's just because dashing during your grapple decreases the amount of time that you can grapple onto the wall for. You move through your grapple a lot faster, so you don't get to gain as much speed. The only time that you'll really see, well, one of the few times that you'll really see top players using dash during grapple is if they want to gain height off of their grapple. So if I want to go up here, I can either swing straight up and I get about that high. Similarly, if I want to gain more height, I can add a dash to that, and all of a sudden I'm soaring really high up. And the trick to this is to dash directly at the vertical as you're moving. So I'll show that again. I come along, at the vertical I dash, and I gain a lot of height. Of course, you'll want to let go of your grapple directly at horizontal. That way you gain as much height as possible without losing any height to holding on for too long. So grapple and dash really only used to gain height, like so. Our next combination is when you use grapple and jump together, and this is known as a pull. It looks like this. and I'm sure many of you have done this by accident when you were trying to go along, and then you do that by accident and it kills all your speed and it sucks and you're like, why is this in the game? This is a very useful mechanic, most notably because if you have a wall like so, I can just do a bunch of different pulls, and all of a sudden I'm at the top of the wall. It's fairly slow to do it this way, which is why you'll see most of the time we try to stick with our grapple into a dash, but then oftentimes, especially in custom levels, it's supplemented with numerous pulls to get you upwards. Pulls can also be done completely horizontally or completely vertically. So if I do a regular pull here, my speed is 534 coming out of it. That varies a little bit, 572. Depends on how much speed you have going in, the angle that it hits, and so on. If I do it perfectly horizontally, I don't know, smaller hook, perfectly horizontally, I have 686 speed there. So you can see that depending on the angle that your hook is making with the roof or the wall or so on, you will gain more speed in a specific direction. Likewise, if I do a pull directly below my hook point, I actually gain a decent amount of height. So pulls are very useful. One thing I will say is at the start of levels, you'll often see top players doing a pull followed by a hook. This is because pull gets you off the ground very quickly, and then if you cancel it straight into a hook, it transitions directly into full horizontal speed on your second hook. Our final combination is using these three together, that is hook, jump, and dash all together in what is known as a dash pull. It looks something like this. You'll notice that it has the properties of a pull in that it pulls you to your location, but you also go much faster because you're using dash. Dash pulls are single-handedly the most useful skill in this game. You'll be seeing them used everywhere. It is used in the most advanced tech, it's used in the most basic tech. Dash pulls are everywhere. So let's take a little bit of a look at dash pulls. The single most important use is to gain height. So if I am directly below my grapple point on a wall and I do a normal pull, I go about yay high. If I get to roughly the same point and do a dash pull, well, I hit the roof way above me. So that is grappling onto a wall, you dash and jump, and you will go flying really high up. You can do this really quickly, you can take your time with it, you'll get the same result either way. And the closer you are to vertical, the higher you'll go. So you can see that I can go from maybe out here, and I gain a little bit of height. I can go from directly vertical, and I gain a lot of height. So this is what we generally refer to when we're talking about dash pulls. Technically, just doing one from standing, for example, in the level Flee, the starting strat is to do just a dash pull into a grapple. Doing a dash pull from standing is technically a dash pull. Most often you'll see people, especially in the Discord server, referring to the directly vertical ones as just dash pulls instead of, say, vertical dash pull. Additionally, you can do perfectly horizontal dash pulls, just like with regular pulls, and that looks something like this. It has the same effect as a regular pull. In fact, you don't gain any extra speed from doing perfectly horizontal dash pulls, but it's completed much faster because of the dash. So I have 681 from that dash pull horizontally, and if I do a regular pull, 684. It's basically the same, give or take a couple of outside factors. So horizontally can be done, not super useful, only used in certain circumstances, but more useful is the perfectly vertical up one. Now it should be noted that you can also do perfectly vertical downwards dash pulls, and I'll just show that off for the sake of showing it off. It looks something like that, and you can see I gain a whole whack of speed. I'm actually going to go up a little bit higher just to show off how much faster it is than falling down. So if I get all the way up here and I fall down normally, it takes a long time and then I land. If I go all the way back up and I do the same thing, ooh, this is going to take a little bit of a while. Sometimes this isn't the most consistent thing. You can see I fall much, much faster doing that. Now that's very advanced tech. That's not something that you'll want to start learning right away. It takes a lot of practice to get muscle memory for that, but just knowing that it is in the game is very useful. That is everything for this video. Quite a bit to take in here. There's a lot of nuances with how some of these combinations work. But once you master using these combinations, you'll see a huge increase in your speed in-game, boost management, all of that fun stuff. In the coming videos, we're going to be taking a look at applications of these combinations, and for that we're going to actually start going into some levels, and then of course following that we're going to take a look at IL strats. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day, evening, morning, night, whatever it may be there. Bye.